First of all, good to see you all in Goa. Tell us about this Commonwealth Law Conference. What is the purpose of this conference, sir?
Let me start off by introducing everybody present. We have Ryan Spears, who is the immediate past president and conference chair.
Okay.
Also Stephen Thiru, who is the VP, former VP for the Australasia, and also the chief organizer of the first body, this forum, which you just had, and Peter Maynard, president. We have a Commonwealth Law Conference every 2 years or so. The purpose of the CLA, there are three core purposes: upholding human rights and the rule of law, and also independence of judges and lawyers. Those are the core principles of the Commonwealth Lawyers Association. And I'm delighted that we are back here in India for the second time. We had a conference in Hyderabad some years back. Was it 2013, I believe, or thereabouts. And so we're glad to be back in Goa. And so I'd like to start off by saying that a big thank you to our very gracious Indian hosts, quite a variety of persons who have been so very helpful, from the Governor of Goa, who we'll see tomorrow, and various other, the Prime Minister, and various other personages. I don't want to leave anybody out necessarily, but I'm grateful to them all, each and every one of them. We'll have opportunities tomorrow to thank them individually. And I also like to thank the various teams, lawyers from India who have been so helpful in accommodating to us, various bar organizations, the Bar Council, plus other law organizations of India who've been very helpful to us, and especially Santan and Krishnan, who is our past president of the CLA, and who we expect will be becoming an honorary life president of the CLA for his efforts in promoting the Commonwealth Lawyers Association. And so at this conference, we cover a wide variety of streams and subjects related to rule of law, independence of the judiciary and of the profession, and also human rights. And so we find a number of, we'll be here from the day. This is the first major event. We have the opening tomorrow, the formal opening tomorrow, and we continue until Thursday with discussions of various topics. We are delighted to have about five streams or so, and Brian can go through the conference in more detail in a moment. But covering every conceivable topic you can think of relating to rule of law and access to justice, from the use of artificial intelligence to the use of technology in the courts, to human rights, to improve case management, and improve court efficiency. And in fact, I'm pleased that at the same time we're meeting, we have many judges here from around the world, including the Commonwealth Judicial Education Institute. They're meeting here at the same time. And so I'm delighted that the judges have been such gracious hosts to us as well, and are present at our meeting. So Brian, perhaps you may want to go into more detail on the conference itself.
Well, thank you, President Peter. So, as conference chair, we have the theme of the conference is common problems in uncommon times, and we find that lawyers across the 56 members of the Commonwealth are united in both trying to represent their clients, uphold the rule of law, and protect the interests of the vulnerable and weak in our society. The reason why we are here today is we have had the inaugural meeting of the bar associations from most of the 56 countries of the Commonwealth who have passed a declaration on the independence of the legal profession and the independence of the judiciary. And we have heard from many countries where that has been threatened to the detriment of the people and to the detriment of democracy and the values that we as a Commonwealth Lawyers Association hold extremely dear. Stephen Tiru, who I will invite to speak next, was the instigator of a Bar Leaders Forum, and we have just completed that, and I'm delighted that when President Peter Maynard proposed the adoption of what is going to be called the Bar Leaders Goa Declaration 2023, that Stephen was on hand to explain it, to draft it, and to talk about it. Stephen, would you like to come in?
Yeah.
Thank you, President Maynard and immediate past President Brian Spears and Organizing Chair. We felt it's important that we have the bar leaders, and there were about 41 of them this morning gathered to discuss this very important principles of independence of the judiciary and the independence of the legal profession. Why is that? Because as an organization, the CLA is concerned with that, and we receive a lot of reports of how the judiciary, the independence of the judiciary is threatened throughout the Commonwealth, how the independence of the legal profession and lawyers are threatened and not able to perform their functions. So as an organization, we felt that it's good that we discuss basic principles of the independence of the judiciary and the legal profession. And we had a long discussion over almost 3 hours, I think, this morning, coming to now, amongst the 41 bar leaders. And we have now come up with the Goa Declaration, which is a document that we want our bar associations to use to support them each time they take a position in respect of the judiciary or the legal profession. They'll have the CLA's Goa Declaration to back them up as principles that are well recognized throughout the Commonwealth. So we are actually very pleased with the meeting that we've had this morning.
Could you highlight the Goa Declaration points?
Well, there are a number of points in there. What we can do, I think, we can actually let the press have it. Yes,
Yeah.
we can, and you can
Yeah,
have
but
it.
you can at least highlight.
It will be a lot. I'll
Major one.
The major one is the judiciary must be allowed to perform its functions without any pressure from the executive. The appointments, the judiciary must be transparent. You must have people of quality and integrity appointed to the judiciary. That's just for the judiciary, and there are a number of others. In terms of the bar, the lawyers must be able to perform their functions also without the threat of reprisal or challenge. Lawyers must not be identified in the cases that they do. They do a case, that's a case. It's not about the lawyer just the case is about the client. These are very important things. So we have examples of where judges in the Commonwealth have been disciplined for being independent, for taking independent positions. All right, so it's important that we have these declarations to support them. We have lawyers who have been threatened because they act for certain clients, and all they do is act for a client. It's not the client's; it's a client's case, but they do the case. So it's important. Again, this stands as protection for those lawyers.
And this Goa Declaration would be only as far as for the whole Commonwealth or for the country, what it is?
It is for the whole Commonwealth. Yes.
It is for the whole Commonwealth.
And for the whole world it can be.
Whole world it
Yes.
can be.
Yes.
One of the important declarations of the Commonwealth Lawyers Association was the Latimer House Principles. That was adopted in 2003. In fact, this is now the 20th anniversary that we have adopted the Goa Declaration, which amplifies that. The Latimer House Principles dealt with the relationship between the different branches of
So the
government.
Goa Declaration will be binding on how many countries?
It's not binding.
It means
it's voluntary.
voluntary.
However, over time, these things can become binding, as we see in the case of the Latimer House Principles. And the Latimer House Principles, for example, are a part of the code of conduct, which judges in some jurisdictions actually adopt. And this can become that kind of document over time. It's a very, very important document. And so this document amplifies and strengthens the work which was done 20 years ago in the Latimer House Principles. It covers some very, very practical situations of interference with judges, the rule of law, and the independence of the judiciary. That's fundamental to our legal system. The judges must be allowed to be independent. Must be independent. But it also touches on the independence of the profession. In some countries, lawyers have been killed for carrying out their function. in other countries they've been detained, and their clients have been denied basic human rights of representation, the right to remain silent, and so on. We have in Kiribati, in the Pacific Islands, the CLA issued a statement condemning the interference with the judges in the deportation of a judge. And so there are many instances like this where the independence of judges and independence of lawyers has been threatened. And this declaration is a major step in preventing that from happening. We're giving this life by discussing it with you, by making it open to the public. Please do publish it verbatim so people can see it. But it is a very important practical declaration.
So one more thing, anybody would like to, if you or any one of you all could like to answer. See, a common man always looks at the court as for justice.
Sorry?
It's a common man, a person, a common man, common person will always look at the court for justice and all.
Yeah.
And sometimes he is satisfied, sometimes there is a bit of sadness saying that what justice I wanted, it was not, when I have everything in record, something. So how would you comment on such type of
Well,
things?
I was going to volunteer that, so your question is fantastic. This is relevant to the common man. This is relevant to each of you, to everyone outside. If you do not have a system that guarantees fairness and independence and is not with a judge who's appropriately trained and who is independently appointed, you have a system that undermines your fundamental rights and freedoms. You have a perception of justice which is that it is fair, that it will be afforded a clean and proper hearing, and that you will be offered the opportunity to comment on the evidence, to have it presented in a transparent and open way. And if you are caught up in either a criminal matter or you're caught up in pursuing recovery of a breach of contract or compensation, you want the system to function efficiently, speedily and cost effectively. And to do that, it requires an independent profession, properly respected, behaving with integrity and according to professional ethics, and you need the court system to function in a way that is independent of interference from government ministers or departments. So it is absolutely critical to the welfare of the common man in pursuing their legitimate rights and entitlements, including their human rights. And I'm sure that President Peter and our former Vice President Stephen from Malaysia would absolutely endorse that. And what we heard this morning from 42 bar leaders was how in each jurisdiction there is a need to be vigilant, there is a need to be passionate about upholding the rule of law. And that's what this conference is about. We're here in wonderful Goa to discuss our common challenges in uncommon times, and we will be zealous in pursuing the rule of law in the protection of the interests of clients, the vulnerable, the weak, holding companies to account, promoting environmental justice and rights, and simply securing a healthy, independent legal profession.
So another issue is what we would like to ask is that we have always seen a common man facing dates. I mean, again, if the hearing is today, then the date, I'm going to talk about bar council, small courts and all. Today one date is given, another date is postponed to another 3-4 months. Delay, So any deliberations on this and all talks?
That's among the topics being covered at the conference. More efficient case management. Justice delayed is justice denied. And so it's important that that every effort be made to improve court efficiency. And there are a number of sessions over the next few days which deal precisely with that. Improving, getting cases through the system, avoiding delays, and having cases be dealt with transparently and efficiently. And indeed, that's a very important part of the problem. But yet there are going to be quite a wide variety of topics. However, Brian touched on a number of them. This is, we've had the bar leaders today. We also this morning had young lawyers.
Okay.
We met with young lawyers this morning. They had a full program. And then tomorrow we have the formal opening. And then for the next few days we have 5 streams of topics going on at the same time. And so I hope you will all become a part of that and be able to report that as well. But today is a major accomplishment for us with the adoption of the Goa Declaration. We think it elaborates on a very, very important principle. The separation of powers is fundamental to our legal systems. And this provides for the independence, the separation of the judiciary, their independence, and also of the legal profession in support of them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.